Hello, class. Well, welcome back to our time together. I just wanted to talk to you again today about your thesis statement and a little bit about the outline that you are about to prepare. The outline will be helpful to give you a bird's eye view of kind of where you're headed, the overall picture. And it's sometimes helpful to get an overview and to kind of succinctly see a little bit about where you're going and what you're going to write about. So, I wanted to cover a couple things with you today. One is Turabian writing and formatting. And like we talked about before, the paper is going to be typed up in Turabian format, 8th edition, Kate Turabian manual. And you'll need to format your bibliography to that as well. And there are some ideas about your project I'd like to share. You know, a lot of people know what they're going to do and where God's called them. And then there are those that kind of find out along the way. It is a journey, isn't it? And God has called some people into a university setting and they know what they're there for. Others don't know, and it plays out along the way. So wherever you're at with that, I'd like you to encourage you to use your resources and encourage you to stay strong amidst your calling and vocation. As the years have passed, for me, the calling actually was presented to me as my primary calling to the Lord, and then again, secondary calling to adult education. So God knows all along where He's going to send us, doesn't He? Jeremiah 20:29 tells us, "So I know the plans for you I have, declares the Lord, plans to give you hope in the future." So I admonish you in that. And then being faithful every day to what He's calling you to and keeping strong to what God's putting in front of you and encouraging you not to lose sight of the, the destination at the end, both your degree and our eternal destination in our calling. So now I'm going to talk to you about some ideas to incorporate into your writing for your capstone projects. There is a book by Timothy Keller. It's called In Every Good Endeavor. And it's a good book that refers to the broken world, and we shouldn't be surprised when things go awry. It does look at how we're following the Lord, and one thought from that book is that if I'm staying out of sin, we sometimes think that things would be going well. That isn't always the case, and what I want you to think about is how things have progressed through your time here with TKU. Think about the tools that you've been given for when times are good and when times are not necessarily as good, and when things go awry in your ministries or challenges that you've had. And how and when have you learned perseverance and sticking with the task? And what did that mean as far as God speaking into that task for you? And then have you learned to deal with and endure situations? What has that looked like? Who has God put in your life? How is it different than when you started out at TKU? Does it look different? Begin to think about those things, such as resources and sermons and professors and classes that you've had, and how that has provided you a framework for a perspective change. And how has it helped you handle those things that have come up with your ministry and your job? Well, it would be great to be sitting here together and brainstorming together and getting great ideas. I hope that this is just a life giving process and that our time together is instructive and that you're creative. You're going to have all kinds of ideas that perhaps I've never even thought of. So remember in this final thing that we are all preparing for some type of a job, and we may not know what that next step is or that next job is, but the most important thing is that we know that God loves us and we are called to love God and then love our neighbor as ourselves. So I just admonish you that in love and service and commitment, and that love is something that can be incorporated throughout our journey here, both at TKU and throughout your ministry and your jobs and your life with your families. And then, how did God use all of that, the experiences, the resources, and the love that you know from God and for others to be able to produce a product at the end of your time here. So, this is just a helpful suggestion, and perhaps will give you some ideas to incorporate into your writing. And I will see you on discussion board.